Romania is the world's unofficial capital of spookiness, a country where myths and legends are so tangled up into everyday life, nobody knows what's what. For example, is Dracula real? Pass the garlic. Will I be savaged by a werewolf on a full moon? Are just some of the questions one must ask themselves when visiting this ancient and terrifying land. Choose wisely now. Romania is a supernatural thrill-seeker's dream destination. With so many haunted places, it would be impossible to cover them in one video. So we're going to pick our personal top 5 haunted places in Romania, in no particular order. Bran Castle. So, to clear a few things up before we go into the spooky stuff at Bran Castle, this castle has no connection to the real Dracula, Vlad the Impaler. He never lived here, and there is no proof he ever visited. So why is it called Dracula's Castle, I hear you ask? Well, it's said that when Bram Stoker dreamt up the castle for his 1987 best-selling novel, Dracula, he used Bran Castle for inspiration. How true that is, I have no idea. Before Bran Castle was built, the land it now sits on was a Teutonic Knight stronghold, dating back to 1212. This place has a disturbing and very bloody past. Bran Castle was imagined in 1377 and became a finished reality in 1382. The castle saw a lot of bloodshed due to its geographic location and played a key role in defending the local area from the Ottomans. Bran Castle is said to be home to hundreds of ghosts, but its most famous resident spook is said to be Queen Marie of Romania, who is said to have fallen in love with the castle. From personal experience in the castle, overnight stays, I can say it is without doubt haunted. We saw things, witnessed objects moving on their own, and a few people became very unwell until they left the castle. Carving Castle. Carving Castle is one of the most beautiful castles in the world. It's stunning, like something out of a fairy tale. However, as with most castles around the world, all is not always as it seems. Carving Castle has a very dark past. Carving Castle is located in Transylvania, Romania, but at the time of its construction in 1441, it was part of Hungary. Carving Castle was commissioned by the Voivode of Transylvania, John Hunyadi, and took around 15 years to complete. John Hunyadi never got to see the finished castle, dying in 1456. Carving Castle was built over the original foundations of a fortress built by the King of Hungary, Charles I. It's claimed that Vlad the Impaler was held prisoner in the dungeons of Carving Castle for around 7 years. It's said that over the years of imprisonment, Vlad the Impaler lost his mind and his thoughts turned much darker. They say to stay alive, Vlad the Impaler would eat rats. Another dark tale is that of 3 Turks who were captured and imprisoned at Carving Castle. The 3 men were given the opportunity for freedom. All they had to do was dig a well in the castle grounds. The Turks agreed. It's claimed they dug through solid stone to a depth of around 30 metres over the course of 15 years. They never got their freedom and died in the castle. It's said they inscribed "You now have water, but you don't have a heart" on the well's wall. All the ingredients for a good haunting, if you ask me. Panari Castle. The real Dracula's castle, Panari Castle, was home to Romania's favourite son, Vlad the Impaler. The castle wasn't actually built by Vlad the Impaler. It was already there, dating back to the 13th century. Vlad recognised the potential of the castle due to its location, perched on top of a mountain. Vlad restored the castle and improved it. The work was carried out by slaves from across the land, along with local nobility. This would have been the job from hell, as today the castle is only accessible by climbing a lot of concrete stairs. 1,480 to be exact. In keeping true to his fearsome reputation, Vlad the Impaler would regally trim down his workforce, killing and impaling them. When work on the castle was finished, Vlad killed everyone. If brutal deaths make a place haunted, Panari Castle has to be the most haunted castle in the world. Vlad and his family used the castle a lot, mainly for the protection it offered from invading Turks. The most tragic tale is not that of Vlad the Impaler, it's of his second wife, Ilona, who, upon hearing about the death of her beloved Vlad, jumped to her death from the high castle tower to avoid being taken prisoner by the Ottoman Turks. Her body landed in the Argeș River below. Legend has it that Ilona haunts the castle and the river below, endlessly searching for the love of her life, Vlad. Singing is often heard in the grounds of the castle, along with reports of balls of light over the Argeș River. Carter Monastery. Carter Monastery, known locally as the Haunted Abbey, and the inspiration behind the Hollywood blockbuster The Nun, although Hollywood got very creative with this story, as it's actually monks who haunt this monastery, not nuns. Constructed in the early 1200s, Carter is the oldest known fortified church in Eastern Europe. Today, however, Carter is a shell of its former self. The monks have literally never left the monastery. In its courtyard lay the remains of dozens of monks who died within the walls. One of the most common reported paranormal activity is seeing these monks walking around the monastery as though their daily activities have been imprinted in the ancient stone. 2 unmarked graves were also discovered. The bodies were over 6.5 feet tall, which was unheard of at the time in the region. Many people suggest that the bodies may well have been vampires and buried at the monastery to hide their existence. Batu Forest. Batu Forest is said to have been visited by the devil himself. It's supposedly filled with ghosts, and even alien spaceships have been reported here. Batu Forest, which got its name after a local shepherd and his flock of 200 sheep mysteriously vanished without trace one night while in the forest. Over the years, many unexplained sightings have been reported in the forest. Notably, in 1968, a military technician named Emil Barnier photographed a UFO hovering above a clearing in the forest. The forest has been known to affect people who enter with symptoms of nausea, anxiety, along with the terror of feeling that you're being constantly watched. Shadow spirits are often reported to terrorise those who dare to enter. Electrical equipment is said to malfunction. Locals and visitors have reported seeing strange ectoplasm-like manifestations. With stories of witches, werewolves and vampires, the forest is truly an intimidating place.